Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We're taking another look at Sandbox, and before we do, we're going to take a quick peek at Bitcoin, just kind of see what's going on over there. Because honestly, it's not terrible, but there's a pattern forming here, and this may not come to fruition, right? It's only, I would say, 60-70% likely when you see a double bottom pattern forming that actually happens. But it's, the odds are in our favor, right? And it would make sense considering the circumstances. So there's potential the price, essentially continues to increase, and then effectively it'll come up and it'll come down and bounce off the previous resistance level of 60,000, which is right here essentially. So again, this double bottom pattern is forming, and we could see that happen. I'm still a little, I wouldn't say gun shy, but I have a feeling we may not see the bottom yet. I just kind of got that feeling, just based on the simple fact that we're not really making higher highs and higher lows. There's still a lot of ground to cover, so we'll know in the next 24 hours. And to my patrons, I'm going to send out a Bitcoin update likely later today once we have a bit more information. We want to kind of wait for the one-day candlestick to close and see what's going on there, because that support and resistance level created by the one-day candlestick is probably the most effective, right? We want to rely on that more so than just the 1 hour or 4 hour. But not terrible shape here for this guy, right? Take a look at Sand. Let's go ahead and take a look at Sandbox here. Oh, and just before we do, I probably have a lot of new members, so thank you again for joining me here if you're new to the channel, right? Hopefully you can learn a thing or two here today. I love teaching people how to become better traders, and that is my goal, is to ensure that you know how to do this yourself eventually, right? I created this channel with that specific purpose in mind. I've been trading for over 15 years, and I love helping people become better traders. I share my signals with my trading community as well, so consider that. Also, there's a link in the description for my Patreon community, but all in all, looking forward to hopefully getting to know you better one way or the other. So let's look at the one-day chart. And as we can see, we had a pretty strong day yesterday, right? In fact, we sent out a signal as a community and we hit all 3 profit targets based on that simple fact that it gave us all the indications we wanted to have a buy signal, right? Now we're going to look at that today and see if there's any more buy signals going on. My speculation is no, but we don't know yet, right? I mean, I haven't looked at the charts yet, so that's why we look at everything, kind of understand that. So first of all, we're over 70 on the RSI. We saw that bounce. That was another indication of a buy signal yesterday, right? Because 70 on the RSI is working as a support level. That reaffirmed the fact that right around $4 even was a strong support, right? So we got that bounce off of $4 yesterday. Furthermore, let's take a look at the 4-hour chart and kind of see where the moving averages are. We have the confirmation. See, that was also further confirmation letting us know that that was a strong support level yesterday too. Yes, it was never tested and touched, but it kind of confirmed the fact that if the price were to continue further down, we'd get that bounce, right? So it just kept on going. Furthermore, also looking here, we've got the RSI coming down to 70. Now, if you've seen my RSI videos, you'll see, well, it's just the one video rather, but I give a couple of examples of how to maximize your potential with RSI. When the RSI is coming down on the 4-hour chart and it comes down and past the 70 or just intersects with it, that's a case in point where you want to consider trimming your position, right? So right now, the price is well overextended. That's what the RSI is telling us, right? It's overbought. And when the price comes down below 70 on specifically on the 4-hour chart, then you're going to have that potential for taking profits. In other words, right now wouldn't be a bad consideration to go ahead and trim some of your position. I'm not saying to sell the whole thing. Take 10-15% off the top. There's nothing wrong with that. And if the price continues to go down, for example, then you can add that percent back and it's going to be worth more at a lower cost, right? That's the general concept there. But there's that. And then also note too that we basically had a MACD convergence occurring right as soon as we took the signal yesterday. So that was further confirmation. And that led to the double rainbow that I usually refer to as with Ichimoku Cloud and the 4-hour MACD convergence, right? So we got half the double rainbow there, right? So single rainbow. When we go to the 1-hour chart, we can see here as well with the Ichimoku Cloud, we had a significant buy signal, right? In other words, the baseline was below the actual conversion line. And then of course we got the lagging span that was way over here. So all in all, really good stuff, right? We had a perfect case scenario there, that double rainbow that I like to refer to as, but now it's kind of changing sentiment, and it has to, right? Because look at how overextended this is. Look at this. We hit a 9 right here, and then it continued further, right? That continuation isn't bad. It's just the longer you go without resetting, in other words, consolidating, then the faster it is and more likely it is to come back down, okay? So we basically had, 1 to 9, no consolidation, barely got a reset there, and then 1 to 9 again. That being said, we're really at the exhausted state. So seeing this 5 here on TD sequential makes perfect sense. And what we should expect to see is probably even a further continuation to the downside It might start to consolidate somewhere in this range here, of course. I think that's probably likely. I feel like the bottom would probably be somewhere in the 470 range. But, I'm going to set an alert essentially for right in that range there, just so we can go ahead and see if we might want to consider adding to our position, okay? But right now, I'm not surprised to see the price coming down. So how much lower will it go? Well, that is hard to say. Considering the fact that we had such a momentous run, I would venture to guess that we might see the price come down a little further. That's my speculation. Now, there's not much indicating that it's going to just start crashing, right? So if Sandbox has such good fundamentals in the big picture with its social sentiment and just, kind of what's going on, like Bitcoin's literally stuck on stupid and Sandbox is taking off. Now, it's easy to identify that because all the technicals tell us that, but the fundamental also works well. So do your own research there in that sense. But what I'm getting at here is that if we're to see a retracement, which I think is likely, not a significant one, but if we are to get one, I don't think it'll come down super far. I do think 471 would probably be the bottom. And as you can tell, look, if you see here, that was a strong resistance for about 4 hours straight. So it hit reject, 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 and then it broke through. And as you can see, it broke through hard too. Oftentimes there's a short squeeze that occurs. It pushes the price action up right at a major resistance level. Not to say that people are trying to short Sandbox at that point. That'd probably be pretty stupid, but that could have been a case, right? So here's the kind of the rub, right? So when it comes to Ishimoku Cloud, it's basically telling us that we're getting closer to a sell signal, right? And keep in mind, Ishimoku Cloud is a conservative indication. It works perfect for me because I like to take profits and I like to ensure that I get into a trade when the momentum is moving the direction I want to, right? That's why we got into this trade in the first place, because it gave us those signals that, hey, this is this trade is right for the pickings, and we were able to get in there. We took a nice 15% almost percent in just that little burst there, and now it's starting to retrace. So all in all, we're looking good, but here, keep this in mind. As soon as this lagging span comes over here and intersects, which could happen in approximately, it's about 7 hours, then we would be considered a sell signal. Okay. It doesn't mean the price is going to start tanking. It just means that it's losing that momentum and you want to get out conservatively. If you are invested in Sandbox for the big picture, don't even listen to this. That's not even a problem. Keep adding to your position, dollar cost average every time it comes down, 20 cents, something to that effect, right? But what I'm getting at here is that, with the positions I like to take, the signals that I send to my community, I like to make sure that they are profitable and they reach their targets. Not every one of them do. I'm not perfect, right? But in this case here, we hit all of our profits because the profit targets were based on Fibonacci retracement levels, right? So we took profit just under 550, and that was perfect. Now, that being said, we've got maybe 7 hours left of, I guess you could say sideways action here. So one of two things could happen. In the next 7 hours, it could bounce and continue upwards, or it could come down to test its next major support level. Right? I can't tell you one way or the other which one's going to happen, but I can tell you that we are at an exhaustive state. We've seen in the last 18 to 24 hours a consistent, significant increase in Sandbox, which is an approximate 43%. And bear in mind, that's 43% on top of the price action from where it's at. It went from literally $4 to $5.50 in a 24-hour period. That's huge. But those things all considered, right? This has a tremendous amount of momentum too. So again, there's conflicting information. Unfortunately, it's hard to extract a specific direction, but I can tell you based on the charts alone, right? No fundamentals included. We should expect a pullback to at least 470 range. That would be a normal healthy retracement. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that, and that's actually what we want to have happen, because then we can add to our position and get a lower value, right, or a lower price. So that's all in all what I'm expecting. I'm expecting the price to start retracing within the next 5 to 10 hours, and we're going to probably see a pullback down to 470. I do think that 545 will work as a resistance, because one last thing here, if we look at the one-day candlestick, we aren't even close to closing above that level right now. Okay, so if we can get the price to close above 550, then I would say we're bullish on making higher highs. But for right now, we don't have that confirmation yet. Key takeaway here is that we closed above 470, so that is a strong support level. Okay, so 470, I would set your sights on 470 to add to your position, dollar cost average if we get closer to that. And then of course, if we break 550 on the one-day chart, then it's a different story. We'll look at this again. I'll make sure to set an alert for that as well, right? So let's do that right now. 546 is it? Yeah. So we'll just go ahead and do that. But I'll take a closer look at this here again soon. We'll keep an eye on it because obviously this is one of my larger coins that I get the most amount of requests on. and we'll just continue to reevaluate. So the next time we look at this, we will draw new Fibonacci retracement lines and see exactly what the new potential is. But again, we don't need to necessarily do that yet because we haven't broke that all-time high officially because a one-day candlestick hasn't closed above, right? You need to know that. One-day candlestick hasn't closed above 546, therefore it is still considered a resistance, all right? So, all right, I hope this helps you and it didn't provide more questions and answers, and I greatly appreciate you joining me here, of course. Thank you so much to all my current patrons and community members. Like, everyone is just super supportive. The Sandbox crew is amazing. I really love you guys, so thanks again for everything you've done to help me get to this point, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks again for your time. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.